the following are the 6 constituencies that the NPP won by the first past the post rule, but the victories were less than 50%, but were not marginal. So what have we set out to do? We set out to look at the 137 seats that the NPP has, the ones they have, the one they didn't lose in 2020. And we're looking at those 137, and we're making projections into what will be the NPP's capacity to hold those seats. If we can get that analysis, then we'll move on to the next stage, and we will look at the NDC one, and we'll be getting towards by May, June, making predictions for you on how we think Parliament will turn out. That's what we'll be doing. So the first one here is the NPP seats. They have 137. Now, from our data crunching, it appears that the whittling down of the NPP seats from 169 to 137, the wave was so strong that the 137 that the NPP were left with appears to be, they are very, 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 very strong. So you will say that half of the parliament is fully held by the NPP, and perhaps the other half is held by the NDC. Now you have to, then the rest are marginal, so you have to pick the marginal. But the 137 held by the NPP appears to be their strong seat. How do we see it? How do we know that? We know that by looking at the 137 that the NPP have. How were the 137 won? What was the margin of victory? That's going to tell us whether it's a strong seat or not. Now, the margin of victory that we have looked across the 137 shows that except the 6 constituencies that we are going to discuss with you, so 6 minus 137 is what? 131. Yes, okay. So the 131 seats were won by more than 50%, fully, completely taken by more than 50% in the parliamentary seats. So you would have a candidate of the NPP winning by more than half of the people who voted in 2020. We will call that a significantly safe seat for the NPP. So 131 of the 137 were fully won by the NPP by more than 50%. Let's see what happened to the 6 in the 137 that they won. So this is showing the victories that were less than 50%, but were not marginal. And they are as follows. So if you look at in Ashanti, for instance, Ahwiahwankwanta is one of the seats that the NPP won by less than 50%, but they won it, it wasn't marginal, it was big. So Benito Usubio gets 29,000, obtaining 47%, which is less than 50%. And then you have Gertrude Nate of the NDC getting 9,000, which is 15%, which is significant. Why do we isolate this? We isolate this because if the NPP did not win this by more than 50%, it means that in that constituency, the total number of votes against the NPP candidate was more than obtained by the NPP candidates. For the 131 of the seats, the NPP candidate obtained over 50%. So that's kosher, that's in the bag. For these 6 seats we are looking at, you will see that the total number of votes of the other candidates, the NDC and others, surpassed the NPP candidate, but they were not marginal. So let's look at them. So Ahwiahwankwanta, for instance, you have the NPP candidate getting 29,932, 47%, below 50. But you have the NDC candidate in a distant second, 9,483, 15%. It suggests that this may be a strong seat for the NPP, but it's one of those where the candidate was not able to win more than 50% of the vote. But it still looks like a very wide margin for the NPP. Let's move on and see the rest. The other one is in Offenso North, which is also in Ashanti. Here in Offenso North, the NPP candidate, his name is Intim Augustine Collins. Augustine Collins is getting 18,000 and is representing 47%. I think this percentage calculation is suspicious because it's 18,614, and then you have a Champon Caesar of the NDC getting 17,000. That's very, very close. I think the percentage is wrong. Forgive me, viewers. The percentage calculation here is wrong. Is it a different one? Am I looking at a different? Yes, I'm still on Augustine Collins here. The percentage calculation, I could look at this. The percentage calculation is wrong. So this is a seat that the NPP won marginally. Ashanti, Offenso North, Augustine Collins and Intim Augustine Collins and a Champon Caesar of the NDC. 18,640, 17,237. So this is not a seat that you can call one of the big strongholds. This is a seat, even though it's in Ashanti, which is the NPP stronghold, this is a seat that was very, very close. So we'll keep an eye on this and see whether Augustine Collins is retained in the primaries or whether he's defeated, and then we can start thinking about making some projections. So you can take this one out of the 137. It's not one of those that you say are very fair. All right. The other one is Bono in Berekum West. And here you will see that this is not one of those the NPP has because the NDC won it. No, so sorry. The NDC lost it. So it's Kweku Ajenim Boateng of the NPP. That's I know him. Ajenim Boateng is a pre-second. He was in Engman House. He was a former deputy minister for a railway, Babstero. That's how we used to call him in pre-second. He was in my house, so I know him very well. It's called Babstero, or we used to call him Dasibre. You know, he said he was a royal. In pre-sec, he said he was a royal. So as Form 1 boys, he was our senior. As Form 1 boys, when he's coming, we have to bow down. You have to do it, otherwise he'll punish you. So when he's coming, you say Dasibre. And those who didn't speak to you well, they can't say it. He would let you pronounce it well. So he's coming, you say Dasibre, then he passes it. That was pre-sec life. That's Kweku Ajenim Boateng. Good evening, senior. How are you doing? Now, his father is the first NPP General Secretary, Ajenim Boateng. Those of you who know the history of Ghana, that's Kweku Boateng's old man. Ajenim Boateng, he passed to eternal glory, but a very faithful member of the New Patriotic Party. He was his General Secretary back in the day. So Ajenim Boateng is in Bono, in Berekum West. He seems to be struggling with the seats because here he's about a fourth-time MP or so. Here he picks up 11,246, and the NDC candidate Dixon Cherdua picks up 10,000. So Ajenim Boateng is winning 46%, and Dixon Cherdua is getting 43%. So this is not one of the seats that you can say the NPP, even though it's one of their 137, this is not one of those that they hold. Kosher. It's a seat that we have to keep an eye on it and see whether Babstero will win the primaries, or if you can't hear the nickname well, the nickname is Babstero, Babstero, Babstero of Engman House. That's Honorable Kweku Ajenim Boateng. Tell him that I said it. Or if you see him in Parliament, you just say Dasibre. He will understand. All right. Okay. Then we get to Bono in Sunyani West. Here again, you have Ignatius Bafwewa, who is the Minister for Labour. Ignatius Bafwewa is the Minister for Labour. He's polling 26,907. That is 47%. And then you have Millicent Yeboah-Mankwa of the NDC polling 23,499. So again, Bono is not one of the 137 that the NPP holds to date. Did I say Bono? Sunyani West is not one of the ones the NPP hold to that you can say is strong. Sunyani West is interesting that NDC is getting that much there. That's significant for them because those are places that the NPP was winning. In Sunyani, is JH Mensah can sit in London and win it. And he was winning it in 96, he win it in 2000. JH Mensah was just winning it. But now, that's East though. But now in the West, the NDC is coming up. So this is a seat to look at carefully during the 2024 elections. But we're going to focus on whether Ignatius Bafwewa is going to be retained on 27 January as the candidate or not. That's a very important analysis. Then you have Central Region, Asin South. In Asin South, you had John Ntim Fojo, who I believe is the Deputy Minister for Education. Now he's getting 17%. 17,121, and that's representing 39%. Then you have Nicholas Bafo, and the NDC candidate getting 10,000. Well, it's a sizable difference, but you see that it's quite close in the Asin, in the Central Region, Asin South. So that's another one we keep an eye on to see. So there's 131 that the NPP have in Kosher. There are 6 of them that we are looking at. Of the 6, one of them is the first one we looked at Ahwiahwankwanta. It's big. They can win again, but these ones are very, very small. Okay. Upper West Sisala East is another seat that the NPP have, but it is so mighty marginal. Sisala is the Liman area. It's a PNC area. Let's look at the figures. Isahaku Amidu Chinia is getting 12,932, representing 37.22%. Then you have Bataglia Mohammed Issa, MDC. He's getting also 12,060. Very, very marginal. I think that the difference here is what? If you take 60 out of 932, take 60 out of 932, and let me see what you get in the difference. So 37.22% and 34.71%. Upper West Sisala East is a seat that the NPP must thank God they got. It was mighty marginal. 870 is the difference here. There are some that are smaller than that. But that's another seat that we need to keep an eye on to see whether Isahaku Chinia will win again in the primaries in January 27. Okay, I think that's about it. So you have Upper West, you have Sisala East in the Upper West region, you have Asin South in the Central region, then you have Sunyani West in the Bono region, you have Berekum West in the Bono region, you have Ofinsu North in Ashanti region, and then you have Ahwiahwankwanta North in the Ashanti region. Benito's situation is big. Okay, so that's what we did with the numbers. So you can see that the 137 NPP have, you can call 131 kosher, go to bed. They're going to pick the 131 because of the margin of victory of 2020. We do not expect that much will change there. So 131 is settled. And then of the 6 that is left, Achumango Bija is settled. So we can make it 132 and assume that 5 of the 137 NPP have are shaky and they need to focus on it, or the NDC can pick it. Let's go on to the analysis and see what happens next.